Hello and welcome to Pirate Radio this evening, guys. I'm Greg, and joining me as always for this, I think, 15th episode of Pirate Radio is Commander X and K. Welcome to the show, guys. They're even here.
Yo.
Wow. Xavi's a little bit drunk, so expect a bit of trolling out of him this week.
Somebody's had a couple of shandies.
So that's why we're late, actually. Xavi was too busy drinking, and then
that's why we're late.
Just
sure.
An excuse to not be doing a podcast.
So why don't we get into it? We've already had our StarCraft fill until after this, of course. But there's quite a lot of team news this week, guys, as the season is pretty much, well, apart from the playoffs is over, so there's a lot of, not juggling, but, some new teams are actually being formed. You know, on top of the TCM lineup we discussed last week, there's also another new decent lineup, and when I say decent, I mean very decent, and I would say better than the TCM lineup. But let's get into it straight away. We won't start with that new team. We'll go over to Cadis's team, in fact, and Hat has left. He's officially left. He hates Scout too much to even deal with Cadis. So, what's going on, Cadis? What happened?
Well, when he joined, it was, as in rejoined for Scout, it was basically only for the season anyway. I mean, no one really said it, but we all just kind of knew that Hat doesn't really like Scout, and I think he expected us to know. Turns out he actually told Linus that right at the start and didn't say just to keep the focus, which is fine. But I mean, it comes as no surprise. We gonna be starting trialing
Hatless.
Hatless, yeah, in TF2 of all places, unbelievable. But no, we're going to be trialing people next week or something. Whenever we if we somehow beat CC, we'll start trialing people later on because we're just going to finish up these playoffs with a Merc.
Superstar Merc, I think, is what you meant to say there, Cadis.
No, Cookie was busy.
So that means that Hat isn't actually playing in the playoffs. I thought,
originally
trying to play it.
Originally he was going to play the playoffs with us, he was going to finish the season. He just kind of let you know, but guys, by the way, I'm leaving after the season. But then he got his internet just it's done it before, where it just got 150 ping at peak hours. So it was like, fuck it. He wasn't having fun playing anyway. So we were just let's just we just basically said if we'll just get Mercs, mate, it doesn't matter. So yeah.
So there it is. So replacements? Anything in the pipe?
Well, looking at who's available, active recruitment posts, that kind of thing. There's only really one person I'd consider, and that's Samzy. But we're going to be trying some, or at least one old face before that. We're hopefully going to be trying Zappis in weeks to come, bringing him back from the dead, as it were, and maybe something else. But I'm not at liberty to say. Or maybe I am and I just don't want to. But you're not getting to know either way.
I think I know.
What about we've heard a little bit. For those of you who haven't heard, Bibbin's been around the scene a little bit past week. Looks like he wants to come back playing. Any chance of talking to Bibbin? Hoping yes.
Yeah, I've got our Swedes going for the glory. Can't say I'm entirely confident that Thrick and Sucker are going to have the charm to lure him in. But
Thrick's wearing his shortest skirt.
Yeah, they're definitely going to give it their best shot, but it's not very likely, really, let's be honest.
Yeah, indeed, especially with one of the lineups. The lineup I was just talking about, in fact. So, but I thought I'd throw it out to you to see if you could talk to him or not. But there we go. So that's the Yoot Tech news. Pretty much that's it, unless you've got anything to add, Xavi?
No.
Hat leaving, disappointment? No? Yes? Maybe?
Well, I think with, in case of it's quite a generic thing for TF2, but even if a player's better, I'd rather have a happy player than a better player. It's just better for stability long term. As good as Hat was on Scout and as well as he fitted the team, if he's not happy playing, he's not going to be given his all. He's just going to be playing oh great, I have games today, rather than actually wanting to play and improve as a team.
I think Hat was very good, and he always did kind of do his best. He was just very begrudging about the fact he was having to.
Yeah, so I think it's a bit of a disappointment not to see Hat in Yoot Tech anymore, because he's been part of it for so long.
I certainly wouldn't have fucking joined them if I knew this was going to happen.
On that note, let's move on. Let's go towards TCM. So basically, I spotted in IRC earlier in the week Byte saying something about how they were looking for a medic, is what it was. He was debating that there are no good medics in the scene anymore, or something along those lines. You know how Byte is.
I took that personally.
Yeah, but basically, I think he said in the past 3 years, there's not been a decent Prem medic to come out. Like, because if you look at the like top scene, it's all like the old school medics. I disagreed with him entirely, but that's what he was saying. And it basically, I then queried him about it, and he said he doesn't want to play medic anymore. Well, I say he doesn't. He doesn't want to play Demo Man.
I think that's more of the issue than Byte not wanting to play medic.
Yeah.
After Byte's first BCWs with TCM, I don't think his team want him to play medic anymore. That's for sure.
I heard he dropped to what, like 4 Ubers to you or something, Cadus?
At least 3 to me personally. I don't know about the rest of the team.
So that means that Byte's going to go to Demo Man, and Himsy, in theory, according to Byte, is on backup Demo Man or Scout. Whether Himsy will go look for a new team, we'll have to wait and see just for a little bit later.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure that a backup for Byte is Himsy's like Himsy's dream, really, is it?
One day.
So they're currently looking for a medic, and Byte has gone around PMing people, I think. So what I know... Longas has actually said that Himsy played medic tonight, but I think that's just because Himsy's like their generic backup at the moment, that he might have played that, and they're still looking for someone. I know for a fact that he asked _Ben, and I heard about it was _Ben said no, but Zavi heard differently, so Zavi, go for it.
I've just heard tonight as well, and apparently Flix played tonight, and Flix would be one of the obvious replacements. From when I talked to Ben earlier, I'm sketchy on the details because I wasn't quite all myself at the time, but basically, obviously he would be interested because it's like quite a good opportunity, but he might not have time to play full-time. And obviously, if TCM want to keen it up to possibly win next season, win I-46 or whatever, having a medic who's not consistently available is an issue.
Yeah, definitely. But he's, one of the best medics there at the moment, I would say.
Available, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think he's the best medic available at the moment.
Yeah, and it probably could be why Byte is thinking having him as he backup, as so he could back up Demo Man and then Byte can medic on some of the nights when Flix isn't available. I don't know Flix's availability very much. Like, all I know is previously he's had a bit of dodgy availability, hasn't he? I don't know. Oh well. Were you talking about Flix or were you talking about _Ben?
Ben with...
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, because he's got like a full-time job, so...
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I don't know about that. Flix obviously available when he would join. _Ben is... I've never really seen him much as a medic. I think the only time I've seen him play was at LAN, at I-42.
When he played with that mixed team with Randa, Quad and Oggy.
Yeah. That's the only time I've seen him play medic, and that was almost a year ago now. So I'm not going to comment on how good his medicing is. Like, I know that Deserto, lacked when he not lacked because they brought Skijin, but when he left, it was kind of like a hole for their team. Is that right? I don't know. I don't even remember if he was part of Deserto. I'd say that
he was part of the old Reg team when they first made their push from sort of off-class and randomers and mixes to an actual quality team.
I've never seen him play properly, but I've seen Ben in several pick-up 2 games, and he's one of the less depressing medics to get. So that's about what I can say for
with competition such as Animal and Toda. It's quite and Bite.
No. And Commander X as well. Come on.
Don't forget Chaplain and
sorry, Zabby. So I don't know if there are any other medics that possibly are available. If you guys thinking about it, want to throw some names out, I don't know.
Admirable.
Do you reckon Ads would play with Byte?
I think it would be the perfect matchup, actually.
I think they just rage at each other constantly.
I don't think Ads would rage as much as just troll the whole fucking time.
Yeah, that would.
I think Ads has enough trouble taking the game seriously as it is, and when he has like the provocation of Byte being super keen.
Like polar opposites in terms of calling like conventional seriousness to just fuck it, let's do it. I don't think Byte's ever said fuck it, let's push his life.
No, definitely not. Someone suggested in chat, get Timer in there. That'll be another clash of egos, wouldn't it?
Oh, that would probably be the best thing ever to happen to TF2. I could watch those VODs endlessly. Timer and Byte on calls together.
Yeah, that would be hilarious as well. But honestly, I guess Flix would be the most obvious choice.
Yeah. If Ben's not available, Flix is the default best option. Like, he's had more experience than anyone else currently searching at top level. He's just consistently better than everyone else looking.
What's Springer doing these days?
So
that was always Bytes.
Bytes go to Springer.
Yeah, that was Bytes go to. Fuck, we need a medic.
Second choice.
I haven't seen Springer around for ages. I think the last time I saw him was when he turned up to LAN as their like sixth, but then Haunter dodged, didn't he? So they got Springer to play.
This is like turning up to a LAN as a backup still.
Yeah. So I did hear Anti doesn't have the time to play either. So Byte I think did ask him, but
I'm very sure Anti, said he didn't want to play med anymore.
Yeah.
And I'd be surprised the way Anti's kind of attitude toward the game has been lately. I'd be very surprised if he has any interest in playing with Byte either.
Anti seems to struggle to focus on the game as demo, like to keep himself interested. So I imagine as medic, his interest would drop to another level of uninterest and just playing like random dodging rather than actually paying attention.
Yeah, I guess we have to throw out into the mix as well, Canel, because of he's in a different list I have right in front of me here. Byte did say the other day that he thought Canel was the best medic to ever grace European TF2, so I guess he probably did try to recruit him. I don't really think that's going to happen just because of this next list, which we might as well just move straight on to. Hey guys, yeah, sounds good.
It's almost like we planned it. Yeah,
completely planned that. So
smooth transition.
The new the new like Finnish-Swedish. Is it Swedish? I don't even remember.
Yes.
Yeah. New Finnish-Swedish all-star team, kind of like a mixture of the old Dignitas, the old Power Gaming team here, guys, and it is Canelo Medic, Rib and Rebelli on Scout. Not Rib, what? Bibben and Rebelli on Scout.
This guy in charge.
Bibben and Rebelli on Scout, Rib on Demoman, Dan and Himsy on Soldier. That's what I've heard. I wouldn't put it past Hox to dodge his team to join that team either. So
I just want to point out at this point what a ridiculous soldier combo Dan and Himsy could possibly do. Because Himsy played pretty freaking aggressive on demo. He played even more aggressive on scout. So it's like a class, I don't know, I just can't see Himsy and Dan quite giving Kynal for protection he desires.
So yeah, the Dan, I have heard from someone else that he's not available like every evening. So I don't know if that's a guaranteed like spot, but that is, they have an IRC channel, and that is what their topic is of their team. Those 6 players. So, awesome to have those guys back. It really would be, and it wouldn't surprise me. Me and Cadis were talking about this before this as well. It wouldn't surprise me if they went and joined Dignitas for LAN. Like they paid their own way, and Dignitas gave them the tickets and PCs for the event. It really wouldn't surprise me if that happened at all. So,
well, that's what they did last time with when they had a Power Dignitas mix come to LAN, wasn't it? Like they basically paid their own way and just got the Dignitas name for LAN.
Yeah, and they gave them PCs and tickets.
They paid for less expensive, kind of like the non-travel associated costs.
Yeah, indeed. I don't know if you guys want to comment on the actual lineup. How good do you think it would be? No,
it can't be bad.
I am kind of. I don't want to be a downer because obviously those names are pretty big names, and obviously there's going to be a lot of excitement generated. But I don't see that soldier combo working whatsoever. Dan was. I mean, come on, let's be honest. Dan was just awful. In his latter days, he was just awful.
Yeah.
There's no skirting around it, and putting him with Himsy, who's never played soldier at that level. I mean, maybe Himsy would have to do something very surprising to be able to fulfill a smart soldier role.
For pocket role, basically.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I wouldn't put anything past Himsy, but I don't see it working. I think maybe they get Hox from TCM. I think that would be pretty much perfect. But
would you replace Himsy or would you replace Dan? I guess if Dan's not there all the time, then you kind of have to replace Dan.
You wouldn't have to replace anyone, if you know what I mean. If one of them's only partially available, you pick your most active roster. Because I also think as well, Kynal's not the sort of medic to deal with, the aggron role that it's traditionally with, the sort of, I'm going to die anyway, I'll just get as many heals out as I can before we wipe them kind of role. Kynal was a lot sort of, I wouldn't want to say smart position because that implies Agron's dumb, but like sort of safer positioning, keeping himself alive more, and that wouldn't really fit in with Himsey and Darn's style of play.
Yeah, that's true. Possibly, they've got 3 scouts there because Himsey. When I'm saying this, I like class Himsey as a scout. Could you not like split the combo of Rebellion Bibbin up and swap one of them to Soldier? Would you think that maybe Bibbin, making it changing the ribbon partnership and making it into Pocket Soldier Demo Man, maybe that would work if Bibbin was a decent soldier? Would that?
I couldn't comment on either's soldier. Like I can't really comment on Himsey's soldier skill.
I wouldn't put it past Himsey to be a decent soldier, but I just don't put it past. I do put it past him to be a decent soldier combo with Dan. Like either of those two in and of themselves is absolutely fine, depending on Dan's mood. But together, it's just like, it's why dream teams are sometimes rubbish because it's about like chemistry and play styles and things like that, rather than just getting as many big names together as you can do.
But then if you had Rib play slightly differently to what he used to do and play Pocket Demo Man rather than his kind of like solo role before, and then you let them have 2 roaming soldiers, would that not work better? I mean, they play with 6. The old Dignitas team, the old Relic team used to play with 6 there anyway. Like together, the 2 scouts, Rebellion and Bibbin, used to play near the medic, so close to the medic anyway, that you can have the 2 aggressive roaming soldiers. Couldn't you?
Well, yeah, I mean, maybe that's why I say like I never say never. It's maybe they'll somehow manage to make it work, but I don't know. I think there's more. I think there have been more likely things that will happen than Dan and Himsey being the ultimate soldier combo.
I wouldn't want to compromise Ribs. Like Ribs so good at what he does. Like he's the best at what he does in that sort of more roam demo role. Like I wouldn't want to compromise what he can do to fit around Dan and Himsey on soldier.
Yeah, that's true. So let's think like replacements. Like I've not seen. I know Hazard's around. I know he's around. And he's not been like throwing around names into any of these pots, but he possibly would come back, I guess, for that sort of lineup. And then Cox possibly drop TCM and go there. I don't know how dead set these teams are. Like they're very, very early forms of the teams. The Himsey team hasn't even played a game. They're playing on. I know they're playing on Tuesday. I don't know if they're playing like Monday or anything. So I have to wait and see what really occurs, and it's probably give it a couple of weeks, find out what the actual roster is going before into the next season, or possibly not even happening into the next season. These they're not guaranteed teams, but if they are, that's so good for Prem having these two new rosters coming into it. I don't know anything more we want to talk about this new team. I don't know what we should call them. We just called them Himsey Super Team at the moment in our private channel.
Power Natas.
SG1 again.
Oh God. Well, I think like what you said before, like it'd be hard for Hazard and Hox not to be tempted with that potential lineup. Like they're not going to dismiss it. It's going to be at least considered by both of them.
I didn't hear it from Hazard directly, but I think someone quoted Hazard as saying, "I will never play with Dan again." So people have been back on their word before, but if he did say that, then
also Dan's not guaranteed in the lineup though.
True.
On other
Hazard might be the perfect replacement for Dan in such case.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, let's leave it for this week. Let's see what happens possibly next week or the week after. Let's move on to the rest of the team news. Like, there's still a couple more. Let's go over to drop down a div and let's go to quarantine. Knutson hasn't been active enough at the moment recently because of his work. I think he works at
he works night shifts.
Yeah, his work starts at or he has to leave at 9 set or something, so he always misses the second map. So they got Baraba in as backup to replace just for the map sort of thing, and he's been playing a lot more recently. And Knutson's kind of getting a bit fed up with playing in those sort of times, and apparently he's really good at tribes. So from what I've heard,
one of the best.
You guys have it, because
I've heard. Yeah. I've heard he's one of the best at tribes, and apparently this sort of, as we all know, Quarantine's been one of the most try-hard teams of recent times, and Ips for Pocket Soldiers got kind of fed up. Sounds a bit harsh, but a bit annoyed by, with a Pocket Soldier playing a backup playing every night, it really slows down the team's progress, and it feels like the team isn't progressing as fast as it used to be, and he wants to leave basically to find a place where he can progress with a team. at full rate rather than having to play with a backup every night.
Yeah, and also I heard Knutson might even just stick with Tribe, so they might lose both their soldiers, or both their more stable soldiers. So, but Ips has definitely gone. That's the confirmation we have tonight. So it's a loss for them, definitely. I mean, like, who else could they get in? I don't even know. I guess you could go look towards the whole Blast team. You know, what were they called before? Giraffe, and pick up one of their soldiers possibly, rather than Ips. But probably whether it would work out, I don't know. I don't know what you guys think about Ips dropping.
It's a loss, definitely.
Yeah, well, I knew about this quite a while ago, so I'm not really too surprised, obviously. I don't know. From what I've heard, I think it was only a matter of time before Ips kind of got bored and left. I think it's like QN, they were really try hard, but I think they lost a lot of their steam. Like, I think Bevan is not that into it anymore. Like, because Bevan was the kid who was playing DM like 24/7 at LAN a year ago. I don't think he's quite the same Bevan anymore. So I think Ips is really looking for, to go to the top as quickly as possible. And before the season, I would say QN were that team, but they've been really disappointing this season. I think it really kind of Ips' reason for leaving. I can't fault it really, because looking at how they've been this season compared to how they should have been, it's really quite disappointing. And where did they finish? Like fourth in Division 1. Like they were my front runners to win it at the start.
At the beginning of the season, it was really, from most people's point of view, I think it was like a two-horse race between Deserto and Quarantine. And Quarantine just really dropped off. Like, it's a long shot from that sort of PCWs on Christmas Day kind of attitude of, we really want to play together, we really want to get good, we want to do as well as we can.
Yeah, and Commander X isn't joking. They were literally looking for PCWs on Christmas Day. Like, they weren't looking on Christmas Day, they were looking for Christmas Day on Christmas Eve or something like that. Like, there's no joke there, that's legit. So there really has been a shift in attitude in that team in the last month or so.
Yeah, I completely agree. One thing I would like to actually want to point out of them looking on Christmas Day is that a few of their players are like from Sweden, and Christmas Day for Swedish people is Christmas Eve.
But I mean, like, every other team that I can think of didn't play for that.
Yeah, I know.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not making fun of them. Like, if they have got nothing better to do and they want to play video games, fair enough. I would do the same if I had nothing to do. I mean, what else would I do? I'd just play video games. But it just, like, the fact that they had 6 guys who could do that was just like,
it
shows attitude.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, there's always this thing.
Meanwhile, like, every Prem team had like a month off over Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, there's this thing in TF2 that is it's lame to care, but like, it's a fucking competitive video game scene. Like, that's the
Everyone
whole
who denies that they care it's denying that you care. It's like,
yeah,
I don't care. I just do this every night.
Just pretend not to, because that's the stigma. But
well, the biggest thing is it's a loss for Quarantine, like losing Ips, I'd say. But we'll have to wait and see who they get to replace. It's very, very, very new news, so I don't know if they've got anybody lined up. I didn't talk to any of the Quarantine members to see if they had anybody. But on the note of Ips leaving Quarantine, we now move on to Epsilon casually looking for a soldier backup. So just casually looking just in case, because of this. Was it Gear possibly not playing very much longer? I don't know.
I think it's just a combination of, like, Epsilon don't practice every day, and there's quite a combination of either Nox won't be available or Gear won't be available, so they quite often have to find mercs. Like, they've had it in the past. Like, in the past, they've quite often used, like, Santa, if everyone remembers him. He used to, like, merc soldier for him all the time, even though he was never officially in the team. It's just a sort of covering their soldier sort of partnership, so they can keep practicing as a team.
They are also absolutely rubbish when they have mercs. I've never seen a team to be so badly affected by having a merc. I mean, it's perfectly understandable given that they have the best chemistry of any team. So obviously, outsiders are going to affect that more than in other teams. But it really is amazing what difference it can make for them.
Yeah, and that's why they didn't bother entering the Accel Cup, because Nox wasn't available and they didn't want to play on merc and lose. So they just decided to pick up a backup because it's affected them in this cup, so they couldn't enter it, and just get them used to the team chemistry. And so if anything goes wrong, they can just bring them in. And at the moment, they've been playing with Mitzi and with Ips dropping. Possibly Ips gonna go possibly play a few games. I don't know.
From what I've heard is basically Mitzi's played with him a few times before. Like he's good friends with Notch. They've played. He's merked for Epsilon plenty of times before. But because it's not like an official search, like with Ips leaving quarantine, Stefan's kind of said, well, like why don't you come sort of half trial for us? Like it's not like a proper trial, but it's just, oh, we need to merc tonight. Ips, are you available? Let's see how it goes, kind of thing.
It's just having a standby merc for the whole time, really, isn't it?
Yeah, basically, like how they used to have like Santa and Mitzi used to do it as well. It was between them, they just always cover for whoever from Epsilon couldn't be there.
Yeah. So I don't know if there's anybody else out there that if you think you're, I wouldn't say that. I was going to say talk to Epsilon if he was worthy of the spot.
What's like the ACPMs from every soldier who's ever hit an air shot? Like I can do it. Saying that, Tarkus just joined the channel one time.
Tarkus, don't. Don't. I'm not even going to say the rest of it. Don't. No.
What? I tune out for like 2 seconds. What the fuck is going on?
Don't worry. Let's move on to our next topic, and the last team news actually of this week.
Right, I've been given added news as we're going along.
Oh, have you? Would you want to talk about this one? Because I don't really know what's happening. This list you've given me is pretty bizarre.
Well, apparently EQ are going to fold.
Really?
Because Cowho's left. I think Cowho's left because of inactivity, and that's not a surprise. Like when I consider like the last week or so, I've quite often just scout merc, and Kyler has been available every night to scout merc, which makes me think, well, if Kyler's always available, Equilibrium can't be playing. So it's not a surprise to see one of their players leave due to inactivity. And you know how like it landslides into one player leaves. Oh, if we've lost one player, I can't be asked to find a new player. I'll fuck it as well. That whole chain of events.
So that upsets the whole of Prem next season now.
For
Deserto to Prem next season, guaranteed.
Not so guaranteed, is it? With like with these two new teams that kind of work out.
It's true, but yeah. So it's a bit of a disappointment. They had a good season, like Equilibrium for sure, and they were looking forward to going into Prem. I guess if they if the team's inactive, then and you want to play, it's better for you to leave, isn't it?
I don't get it. Isn't Toda like spectating all their games anyway? Like he's not that bad, is he?
He's really bad at off-classing though, isn't he?
What?
Yeah.
Wait, what does Cow? Oh fuck me! Cowho's a soldier. Never mind.
Idiot.
For some reason I thought Cowho was a demo, but whatever.
That's game sense.
Why don't they get Haunter?
Can't they bring Haunter back?
Is fucking sick and loves to play TF2.
So, unfortunately, they're not going to bother continuing, which is a shame. We might see that turn around in the next week or so. I don't know.
They change their mind all the time.
Yeah, I think they jumped to conclusions just like, didn't they fold last week and then like an hour later they'd be like, wait a second.
Wait, we can get Prem. We'll unfold. But I think, to be fair, that kind of symbolised, like, we're going to fold. And then it's like, oh, we can actually get Prem. Let's stay because Prem is awesome. And we're like, but we still can't play any more than, like, once a week together as a team. It's like, oh, yeah, good point. Shit, yeah.
Yeah. So, there we go. That means that... So, at the moment, Equilibrium will fold. Not much else we can say, really. Where the players go, some teams need scouts. So, I guess, in fact, we missed out.
Will have to wait if Kyle is available.
We missed out one of the news from earlier that part of the news from earlier that I didn't spot because I skipped it, which was Deserto. So Norla was kicked /left, and they need a scout. So maybe Kyler would go and join Deserto. You never know.
I feel bad for Sam, man. He finally was getting some opportunities, and now Kyler's just going to come and shit over everything.
Has Sam been trialling for Deserto then? Can anyone confirm that?
Yes,
he has.
He definitely has been.
Yeah. So that's Samzy is currently trialing for Deserto as scout. Zavi's written Shintaz ? Beside this. I'm pretty sure if that Shintaz wanted to play scout with them, they would have just picked him up like straight away without really making an effort to search for anybody. So I doubt he'll play scout with them. So yeah. TCM going to be, not TCM, sorry, Samsey possibly going to join them. I don't know how guaranteed that is. I've actually just been linked a screenshot from Deserto where they beat TCM earlier today, 6-5 on Granary. That is 11 rounds.
Screenshots.
Oh, they love the screenshots, don't they? Who sent you that?
rounds on Granary. Poop.
Skis or poop. There we go.
Dear, oh dear. To be fair, that's kind of amusing. To be fair, if I if I took 11 rounds from buy in like half an hour, I probably couldn't resist.
Yeah. So that's pretty
I'll give
funny.
a quick update as well. In traditional Portuguese sort of bipolar fashion, apparently only Cowho is left, and there's going to be some sort of Portuguese reincarnation, as that always was.
Standard Portuguese reincarnation of their team. So they're going to be in Prem still. They'll still get Prem like the previous season.
Because
when
they're
they
only
were
changing
really
one
bad.
player. Like, if they do have to change Cowho, and even if they change, like, it's 3 people for a, what's it called? Team something.
Yeah, for the hijack.
Overtake a team, hijack rule. There we go, yeah. It's still only, like, 1 player.
Yeah, so possibly see their Equilibrium stay together then. And maybe get rolled over in Premier again, like previous season.
Maybe.
Cowho was one of their better players this season, that's for sure.
Maybe.
So, well, good luck to them if they do look for another soldier. And we have one more bit of news which is too confusing, so go for it, Savvy.
Oh, the tryhardest news, where me and Timmy had one of our traditional... I'm
Facebook
awake at
chats.
7 a.m. for... it's always on Facebook, we have our team chats, because I'm up at 7 a.m. for unknown reasons that can't be confirmed at this time. But basically, tryhardest new lineup is looking something along the lines of Blackie Monster on Medic, Trax and Santo on Soldier. Well, it was originally going to be Blaze and Timey on Scout, but Blaze can't commit because his work schedule's changed. And on Demo Man, Mark Honey Mustard.
What? Really? That's the most random fucking random I've ever heard.
This is like such a random team, which is why I was like, when Zabby put it on, I was just like, yep, you could just say that, Zabby. It's so...
I heard like 2 days ago that Trax was quitting TF2. I don't know, like I can't remember who I heard it from, but
Me.
it was from you. All right.
Yeah.
Maybe you could patch that bit of knowledge up for me then.
Well, he was trialing for my team, and then he was like, I can't be asked to play anymore.
All right.
2
But
plus.
the law of Tamu and Honey Mustard was like, fuck this man, back to TF2.
What can I say?
When did Tamu say this to you?
Was it was either last night or the night before. Time gets fuzzy for me at certain periods in my life.
Depending on how much meth you take. Right. Okay. Anyway.
Might be related to that.
Right. If Trax said to you that he doesn't want to play, I really can't see that roster tempting him, because for obvious reasons, it sounds rubbish, really, doesn't it?
Rubbish.
Like, I mean, for what Tamer would want to achieve with it, it just sounds a bit... I don't know.
Oh, you say what Tamer wants to achieve, but we always forget that when you're playing Scout, it's hard to have a bad time playing Scout.
Alright, I guess.
It's like, you never get Scouts going, I'm fed up with this game. Scout is so boring, unless you're clockwork and complain. Well, let's not point out examples to prove me wrong for a team here. But you know what I mean? Like, you never get like Scout ragers, really. You don't get people who are... Everyone has more fun at Scout. You ever watch teams warm up, there'll be 6 Scouts on the team, but everyone will swap back to their class in sort of a begrudging manner.
I think it's more to do with the fact that Scouts can move without a medic buffing them and shit. But, I mean, but come on, like, if you had to pick a Scout that you actually think might join that team, who can you even think of someone that would want to, that isn't completely terrible? But
well, they did have
want to Scout with Taimu.
Like, literally,
they did have Blaze until his work schedule changed. Like, he was up for it.
Okay, someone who like knows the EU scene, who knows on that roster.
I don't know.
Crouton, maybe. Like
it depends. Like I presume their prem spot is sort of scrapped because of a hijack rule. Like, they're changing everything.
Well, no, not technically, because the hijack rule is like, I think it's a bit more flexible than that. It's to prevent teams from literally hijacking, but generally the procedure is if you go through ETF2L and show them how it's like legitimate roster changes caused by problems, then often you can keep the team. I mean, if Track stays, there'll be more of a case for that. If it's just Temu, then probably there's no case, and they will get Div 1. Div, I guess it depends on Tracks.
From what I've heard, like, Minerals would rather play LoL. Everyone else is
said he quit TF2, I think.
Yeah. Which kind of leaves Timer on quite a hollow case, really, for... Sure, we're Prem, I'm still in the team, and I'm now playing Scout, but, you know, whatever.
But, like,
if that team gets put in Prem next season, it's just an injustice to all the Div 1 teams that played this season and, you know...
Stay together.
Yeah, because that team would just get 5-0 by everybody, and they'll just fold at the end of the season or reshuffle their roster yet again. Like what's the point in that being Prem still?
No disrespect to Honey Mustard, but I don't understand. Like, in that team, like, there's going to be absolutely no, like, sense of strategy in that fucking team. It's going to be, like, all about running around like idiots and just doing random shit and getting, like, one-ups on the opponent. Like, why, like, and, like, I see Sickless is looking and things like that. I mean, I don't rate Sickless particularly. I think he's a bit of an idiot and his English is terrible. But in that kind of a team, he's, like, such a fucking obvious choice. Like, over...
The DM to just stand on his own 2 feet, kind of on DM terms, while everyone else just does their own thing.
Even
like how Trax did with never played in this level before, but I kill stuff anyway. Yeah,
same with, like, the other Demomans looking like GDK I haven't seen much of, but again, like, maybe he would just turn it down straight away, but I'm not sure. Like, literally, like, War, I can't see Temu being worried about the fact he can only play 3 nights, because I don't see that team playing that much anyway with Americans and such. I don't know.
War would probably say no to that team.
I think of all Temu's teams, this is the one that begs to fold, and that's fucking saying something.
I agree. Like, how many Americans does it have in it? Just one.
I think only one now, but...
One now, yeah.
Yeah. But still.
Yeah. Like, there's nobody in that team that deserves Prem. Really. If you look at the names in it, nobody deserves Prem in that team at all.
Well, I don't personally rate Blacky Monster, but he played, like, top invite for quite a while.
That's the one I was going to point out. Like, Blacky Monster's got a lot of experience at top level.
Like, I don't think he's actually very good, but he, like you say, the experience counts.
He's undoubtedly, like, he would, like, any invite team wouldn't hesitate in picking him up. Like, you know, if they lost someone mid-season or something, he'd be an obvious replacement because he's got...
Yeah, but he hasn't played for 4 months.
But he plays medic.
6 months.
That's a fair point. True. He does play medic.
That's true.
Like, oh, my aim's off. Oh, wait, I remember I might now play medic, so it doesn't actually matter.
Yeah, well, maybe I'll take that back, because when we made him fused, we were thinking about having Blackie on medic for us, so I'll take that back. But the rest of them, no. So, it's gonna be hard for even a scout in Div 1 to want to join that team. I don't think they'll get a scout from Div 1 in that team.
It's not as attractive as other rosters going at the moment.
Not at all.
When you talk about other spots available, like the Deserto spot or the Quarantine Soldier spot now, like, there's no reason to pick this team above the others.
I'd rather scout in your, like, low Div 1, Div 2 teams, Avi, than
that
team. I'm trolling you, yeah. Div 2. I don't even know who you've got in your team anymore. It's Crouton and somebody, isn't it?
Hey man, we're playing with, like, maybe a full lineup on Monday, so deal with it.
Oh, wow. Jesus, man.
For the first time in a couple of weeks, yeah.
That's cool. So yeah, let's leave the team news. We've talked about it for quite a long time. There's only really 2 topics for the outside team news this week, guys. So let's dive straight in. Why don't we just talk about the Accel final, get that out of the way quickly. So the Accel final, Yoot Tech versus Infused, it's scheduled for Thursday, 21 standard time. Scheduled. Hard. Fuck you.
Shoka.
Yeah, so it's, yeah. Come and watch Thursday evening, guys. Yeah, do. I think I'm going to announce this here because there's nothing's been put in it now. I won't announce it yet. You'll want to tune in because and definitely check out the vanilla article because there is a giveaway going on for it, which is a giveaway that I very, very desperately want to enter.
But you can't enter.
Yeah, but I can't enter because I'm part of Vanilla TV. So, but yeah, you're going to want to match. Yeah. So you're going to want to go on Vanilla, read it, and you're going to want to enter that. Hopefully they'll actually do it like live rather than do it so you can just post something and then win afterwards. But we'll have to wait and see with that one. But yeah, tune in give it some, definitely tune in for that.
Do you have any idea who's going to be casting that yet?
I haven't. Yeah, I heard something about that. If they knew early enough, I think talk to Arx and Beta. But I can't guarantee whether that's going to happen. I think that's what Beta said last week, but I don't know. If
Beta's
not,
been messaging
Zabby will
about-
cast, won't he?
Yeah, I'll be there. Like, Beta's been messaging about the upcoming games, like the big upcoming games. So I think Arx and Beta are doing what they can to see if they're available. Like they're checking it out ahead of schedule, etc. So if they are available, they will cast.
Yeah, and I've told Vanilla about the dates, so they've got a fair few days to try and plan ahead for that anyway. So should be cool. Predictions, we did them last week, I think, anyway. But do you guys want to go into them?
Infused to a disappointing win. Like not a but as in they win it, but they make a meal of winning it, kind of thing. If you know what I mean, like.
So we control the game for like 20 minutes, and then,
and then you'll win
almost throw it away.
3-2. Yeah, you'll be on their last for about 18 of the 30 minutes, but you'll win 3-2, and I'll just be like, "What have I watched 30 minutes of?"
Cadus, I think.
Yeah, we'll lose. We'll just lose.
Yeah, and we'll win. There we go.
Good luck, guys.
Let's move off
team
XLO.
speech from Cadus.
Cadus actually has a sore throat this evening, guys, so let him off, alright? He can just say we'll lose, that's fine.
But he can say, he doesn't have to say depressing things because he's got a sore throat. He can say optimistic things in a depressing way.
Right, well, let's leave Accel behind us. Let's move on to ETF2L. The playoffs, I think we touched on it last week as well, but because no games have been played, we might as well just quickly talk about it again. So, Yoot Tech versus Crackland is tomorrow night, guys. Watch it, please. Really worth watching. It's only 3 games in the playoffs, and that's the first one. I'm looking forward to it because I am actually playing in it now, so should be a bit of fun.
We lose.
Yeah. So, well, apparently I carried you today, Cadus. So what happened there?
What? Who said that?
Me?
Oh, okay then. That explains it.
It's gonna be a close game.
Greg's playing because Hat left. If you've been paying attention, we discussed this already.
Yeah, I want Crackland to win because I like Crackland, and Retrock's playing, like Retrock's back on form, and Retrock's the key player for Crackland, really.
Okay. I think last week went into it, and I think I say Yoot Tech for the upset for this game, but lose to Epsilon is what I said last week. And now I'm playing, so I think Yoot Tech will probably lose.
Self-belief.
So, Cadus, did you say any prediction for this?
What? Well, we lose.
You lose. Okay.
Well, I've got you. Like, I have no hope.
So yeah, that's the predictions for tomorrow night's game, guys. Definitely, please do tune in. It's playoffs from the season. It's always.
Do we know
good
who's
to tune in.
casting yet?
I don't even know what's going on for it. I'm afraid I did post something earlier, seeing whether anyone could get anything sorted, but I don't know if anything has been sorted.
Nice.
One thing I do want to talk about, Cadus brought this up before making sure we do talk about it, is that we are in the playoffs now, and we've been waiting for 2 months for a prize fund announcement for this season. Like, what the hell is going on? Are we still getting money in this season or not? Like, because like before the season, there was kind of like rumors going around of whether we would or not, and like, I don't think you should do it for this season now, because the whole point of the money in the season is to build up a lot of hype, make teams practice for it, and all that jazz. And if you put it in this late, like, there's no real time to go and practice for the rest of the playoffs yet. So
you look at other competitions and other games, and all the prestige that comes with a league is quite a lot down to the prize money and the hype. Like if someone says like for example MLG this weekend, and they put like a 50 grand prize money on, that's like incredible. But if they didn't announce the prize money till like the winner brackets final or something, it'd be kind of like, well, I don't know what I'm entering for. I don't know.
Basically, Kras, what we're saying is that, well, I think it comes down to, if there's like guaranteed decent prize money for next season, then sure, feel free to put it in. But like, the best thing about the money is the hype it generates. Like, the team's actually winning the money. It's like, yeah, it's cool. It makes it feel a bit more rewarding or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's not really like, we need money or we can't play video games. But so I think if you only have the money to fund like one season like properly for the time being, then make it next season. Like no one's really going to care. Like all the teams that are playing for it this season will play for it next season, but they'll be able to get a lot more benefit from the money than we otherwise will.
I mean, like, I'm not going to complain if you do put money into this season. Not at all. Like, you know, you've said you're going.
If anything, Greg wants to win it before TCM, and
yeah,
Finn.
Like, if anything, I want to win it while the
season drops down to 4.
So, so yeah, so do put it in now. That's perfectly fine for me. On the same note, Angel, can you put some prize money in for second place in your cup?
Don't put prize money in for second place. Don't fall for this ruse.
So yeah, I just thought we'd bring that up. Just because we're so late into the season, it's 2 months down the line and it's still not been sorted. So, worth bringing up, especially when Krasp's here. And there is one more thing from ETF2L, which is they have finally unbanned the original. For next season, of course, not in the playoffs, but they've finally unbanned it. That overpowered thing that means you can actually shoot from the center of your screen rather than, like, round a corner and pull a Leon.
I've never died from a soldier until the original was allowed. That's all I said. Not once to a soldier, but now the original is allowed. I can't dodge anything. It's like I don't even know where it's coming from.
Fuck this shit, man. I'm boycotting.
ESO only.
So yeah, it's a good thing it's in now. People can stop whining about it, and people will stop pulling Leons when they, trying to shoot through a gap.
People won't stop pulling Leons. That's still going to happen.
Yeah, that's true.
Make it more embarrassing.
Of all the unlock debates of all the seasons, I think the original has to be up there with the stupidest ones ever.
So
I don't know.
Apparently the cast for tomorrow is sorted, so if you guys keep going, I'll find out who it is.
I'm waiting to see if I'm surprised with the cast. I was about to say, you didn't hear Griever and Comedian arguing over the equaliser earlier, so that makes me... that made that topic seem pretty retarded for me.
What was that? Was that the South African?
That was the off-class cup, where basically it just means both teams run two snipers, and Heavy's overpowered as shit because you have to play Pyro versus it.
Right, that sounds amazing.
Basically, Scout Soldier and Demo
Band. Yes.
Yeah. Righto then, that sounds like it's right up Comedian Street to cast.
Yeah.
It was Trent's idea, which I think tells you a lot about the idea.
And Trent doesn't like it anymore, Like, he did it for a bit of fun ages ago, and, like, all these other scenes have picked it up, like, yeah, it's awesome! And then people are like, no, it's not. But anyway, let's go. Yoot Tech vs Crackdown. It's casted by Admirable and Pledge tomorrow. Streamed by Comedian, I think. So, aren't you playing with your new roster tomorrow, Zach?
I am playing. Good point, Greg. That reminds me, Cadus, can you look for a game for us tomorrow?
What? Suck my balls?
Team Cadus.
Yeah. Did I tell you about my name? I want to call it Cadus and the Argonauts. You get it?
That sounds fantastic. Okay, Walters is looking. CX, is that good?
Walters he might make the cut. We'll see how he does.
Whatever.
Right, that's it for us this week. I wanted to go watch MLG, so shout outs before we go. I think Cadus definitely had one. So go on, Cadus.
Oh, bloody hell. Yeah, shout out to Shrike for making my Insight video. Just put a link in the whatever you call it, ISE. Yeah, it's pretty cool, I guess. Maybe watch it if you want. It's not bad.
Yeah, at the moment it has like the least amount of views, so Cadus currently wants to get.
Well, if you want to see the best Vanilla Insight video, mine's clearly winning.
Mine's there as well, guys. I think.
I'm fairly sure Admirable playing Pickup 2 is still better than your Insight.
The only reason Zabby's has any views is because of that crossbow air shot at the beginning of the game, and then people just turn it off straight after that.
That's not important. It's a numbers game, Greg. If you can't compete, just deal with it, okay? I don't want to hear you whining.
Has mine got more views than you? Shall I go find out?
No, mine's the most viewed video on like Vanilla TV.
Why don't you give us some shout outs?
I have a shout out to Rob Moody 3D, who wants more Highlander news in our podcast. So Cadus has joined SNSD, guys. The top Highlander team has picked up one of the top 3 demos in the UK.
Oh, thank you.
There you go, there's your Highlander news for the week.
Brilliant. But if people want us to do Highlander news, you like PM me if you know anything about it, and we'll bring you in once a week. You can do a 5-10 minute segment at the end of Pirate Radio going into it, because I have fuck all clue about Highlander, and neither do the others. Yeah.
Did you say Highlander?
I said Highlander.
thought he said Highlander. Does anyone else think it sounded like he said Highlander? Yeah,
apparently it did. There we go. I said Highlander.
That's a Freudian slip there, thinking about Highlander.
Right. Any other shout outs, Zavi?
Oh.
Brilliant. Right, I've got shout out. Nothing. I'm done this week. After that, I'm gone. I'm done. Bye, guys. MLG it is.
Later, bro.